Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you are doing really well. Today I'm going to be trying out the Born This Way multi-use sculpting concealer against the Tarte Shape Tape, tried and true, versus potentially new holy grail. So I've been using this for a good week now. I really wanted to give you a proper review rather than just a first impressions, but I thought it would be really helpful to compare it to the Tarte Shape Tape, because I know lots of people have been asking me which is better, does it have more coverage, and I think people will also be interested about shades, because obviously this is brand new. In the UK we probably can't swatch it for a while. I thought we would just test them out against each other and see if we can notice any comparisons. The biggest thing to notice about this concealer is you get an absolute ton for your money. So here are the two next to each other. By the way, just mind my nails and my wet hair. I just took my kids swimming and I'm just a mess. So if you didn't know already, the Tarte Shape Tape is one of the biggest concealers on the market. You get 10 mils in here, which is a huge amount versus some of the other high-end concealers. So for some other comparisons, the Laura Mercier concealer is 7 mils, NARS is 6, the Urban Decay All Nighter, I mean, I've written 3.5 mils. Can that be right? If that's right, that's insanity. That is so little versus 10 mil. But this one, in a whole new category of its own, is 15 mils. So it is the same price as the Laura Mercier at £24. It's £2 more than the Tarte, but you get an extra 5 mils and you actually get double the Laura Mercier and a bit more. So this is an incredible deal for your money. You get so much more than any other concealer. It is gonna last you forever. So yeah, you can see this is a really large bottle, and against the Shape Tape, it's even when you consider this is one of the largest on the market already, this is like, it's mum. It is glass, so I guess someone did say to me as a makeup artist, it's not great for travel because it is so big and it is glass, but unless you're a makeup artist, I don't think that would bother you too much. Both go for the old doe foot, which I'm a big fan of. Obviously it means that you don't need a brush to put it on. You can see that the Tarte is a lot bigger of a doe foot, and the Too Faced has this really unique pointed like diamond shape doe foot, which I really like for getting into your inner corners. So as far as shades, in the Tarte I have the shade light medium, and in the Too Faced I picked up the shade golden beige. Foundation shade references are down in the description box like always, but I did some swatches for you and I've let them fully dry down. Here is the Shape Tape in the shade light medium, and here is the Too Faced in the shade golden beige. Also, that when I first swatched them, the Too Faced actually looked darker than the Tarte, and now that they've dried down, it looks like the Tarte has really dried down quite a lot darker and quite a bit more orangey than when I first swatched it, whereas I'd say that the Too Faced has stayed very much true to its initial colour with a very strong yellow undertone. Without any further ado, let's get these two concealers on my face and see which we like best. So I've got my lights turned down nice and low, so hopefully you can kind of get a more realistic view of like my under eye circles. Obviously I've got foundation on. I've also done my cream contour just with my usual MAC Studio Fix stick, I think. And I'm going to be going in with the Tarte Shape Tape in the shade light medium. I'm only going to use this under the eye on this side because it's quite hard to do half and half in all the other places. So I'm just going to show you the comparison in the under eye area. Because let's be honest, that is where it counts the most. Blend that in with my damp Beauty blender. So as we know, it's very easy to blend this concealer. It has great coverage, blends out really nicely, and you do get a really good amount for your money with this concealer. So I'm going to set this with my Huda powder, Easy Bake powder, but I'm not going to be baking with it. Obviously not everyone likes to bake, I just want to set. And now I'm going to do everywhere else and under this eye with the Too Faced, and this is the shade Golden Beige, I think I already said, but just in case. Both of these concealers kind of smell similar, like they have like that sort of sunscreeny smell. I feel like a lot less of this goes on to begin with, but you just don't need any more. It somehow miraculously seems to cover everything with a really small amount. Don't know what voodoo it is, guys, but it is voodoo. You see, I'm gonna look really crazy today because like the shades I don't think are that similar. This one I would say is a lot more yellow. I like, but obviously bear in mind. So with the other side of the sponge, I'm gonna blend this out. And this is like even faster. Like I sort of expect there to be no coverage because I mean that I could just stop there and it would be basically done. It blends out so fast and the Shape Tape blends out fast and easy. But this is even faster, and given it's like blends out so quickly and like with no effort, I expect there to be no coverage there. Like when I look in the mirror, given this is so quick, so easy, it has completely gone into the skin and is invisible, I'm like expecting to look back and there to be no coverage. But as you can see, it's amazing coverage. It's definitely like a way more hydrating formula. I am now just setting everywhere else with the same Huda powder, and I'm using the shade Pound Cake for anyone who wants to know. But yeah, like I said, I'm not going to bake this side either. I'm just going to sort of lightly set. Yeah, it immediately as you put it on, it looks more hydrated, it feels more hydrated, it feels a lot lighter and just not as heavy, not as sort of stiff. It feels really light, really like you haven't got anything there, and that's kind of how I feel it looks as well, even though its coverage is amazing. And I feel like for the same amount of coverage, I use a lot less of the Too Faced, even though you get so much in here. It will like never run out. So let's zoom right in. I do feel like the coverage is pretty much identical. The difference for me is just how the lines look are way less lines on the side where I've used the Too Faced, and it's way less pronounced. It doesn't exaggerate them as much as the Tarte does. This side looks a little bit more natural to me, and I think just the feel, the biggest sort of change that I noticed between them is the feel. Like the Too Faced just feels like there's nothing there. It feels hydrated, it feels light, whereas the Tarte side does feel heavy, it does feel dry, and it does kind of look dry as well. Whereas the Too Faced, it just feels like nothing, and it kind of looks like nothing as well, but it just somehow manages. Neither of these really crease on me at all, but the Too Faced literally does not crease one iota, whereas the Tarte, I feel like throughout the day my lines do get a bit more pronounced, and I think that's just because it is so heavy and it is such a thick concealer, whereas the Too Faced, it's just really hydrating and smooth, and it doesn't change at all throughout the day. There's no change in shade, there's no change in it sinking into lines, it doesn't move or fade or do anything weird. It's just absolutely perfect. So there you have it. I've done the rest of my makeup, so you can now see both concealers side by side. Strangely, I feel like the Shape Tape looks brighter and perhaps the Too Faced looks softer, maybe more natural. This one looks quite stuck. I think that's just because of the like more neutral undertone, where Too Faced very much has a yellow gold or golden undertone, which is very much closer to my skin color, so I think that's probably what's going on, and I do like this side much better. It is really hard to show you things like lines and stuff like that, like in the camera. It's just really hard to show you really close up because I just don't have that phenomenal of a lens, but take my word for it, both of these are very good concealers. To me, the Too Faced is actually special. It is comfortable, breathable, lightweight, natural looking, but still has amazing full coverage. It has a really good shade range. It is ridiculous value for money for 15 whole mils, half a foundation. I'm a huge fan. I've tried this with all different foundations and primers. I've also tried it with both my Huda and my Patrick's powder that I know obviously very well. I've tried it baking, I've tried it just setting, and it stays natural, it stays soft, it stays full coverage, it stays out of my lines, it does not crease, it doesn't soak into my lines, it doesn't exaggerate my lines, it doesn't flash back, it doesn't do anything you would expect it to do. I am mega impressed. So if you want my recommendation, even if I didn't think this was any better than the Shape Tape or the other concealers that I've used, which I do, it's definitely my favorite, I would still recommend this one because of the amount that you are getting for your money over all of the others. It's just such a good buy for your money. I really think it's going to be coming to Cult Beauty very soon. They have been dropping hints. So I am hoping it will only be maybe a week or so longer until it arrives here in the UK. Please let me know what your thoughts are down below if you have tried the Too Faced Born This Way, what you think of it. I'm personally obsessed. Hope you found this review helpful. If you did, please like and subscribe before you go so I can see you again. Otherwise, take care for now. Bye.